continuing our conversation on prospect theory. And now we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into the value function. Now, before we get into the math, we're going to look at from a picture standpoint, a visualization of what the overall prospect theory value function looks like. So what we talked about on the last video is the fact that most people are risk averse in the gains domain, and then most people are risk seeking in the loss domain. And in the gain domain, this looks like a very similar utility function that we use in our way early utility function natural logarithm video. So we've kept that. And what that shows is not all dollars are created equal. Here, what this says, and we're going to dive into the math later, but we have this alpha where it's the value to the alpha power, and it's usually around 0.88, which gives us this natural logarithm function. But that also shows us that we experience utility in our first gains, and then something happens. We have what is called diminished value sensitivity. So our sensitivity to the values that change diminish as they increase. So if we have a good performing stock right away, we are really excited about it. And then after that, our sensitivity for that increasing value decreases or diminishes over time. So this value function actually captures it. On the loss side, I did my best. You have the notes, the actual picture. This is my best effort to get this. And what I tried to do is I tried to show a steeper, immediate decline that will show the immediate loss aversion. That's the losses that are felt as losses are immediately experienced. However, at the same time, losses also have a diminishing value sensitivity. So anybody who's actually held on to a stock that has gone down, I know I can attest to that. You feel those losses right away, but then you get dull to it. And your diminished value sensitivity, the more it loses, the more you just surrender to the fact that it's a loser or it's a dog, and you say, I'm just going to go down with the ship, and you no longer experience much more losses. You've already incurred it up front. And so now we've got these two facets here, and I've told you that there are four quadrants here. So now let's take a look at two more decisions here. First decision is option A. You've got a 0.1% chance of winning $5,000. And you have a 99.9% chance. Otherwise, you can take option B, which will guarantee you $5. So go ahead and make your choice. Which one sounds better to you from an expected value standpoint? I think it's equal. So go ahead, but you have to choose one. And I'm going to show you the next one here. This is option number two, or decision, number two. Option A, you have a 0.1% chance of losing $5,000. And then you have a 99.9% chance of nothing. Option B is a 100% chance of a $5 loss. Go ahead and lock in that answer, A or B. So once again, I teach this. I know what the answer is or what should do. However, if I'm really making this decision here, I'm with the majority of people. And the majority of people say, I'm going to take, in this domain, I'm going to take option A. So I want to, essentially, I'm playing the lottery here. This is the lottery. And that's just not exciting enough. The guarantee $5. I can get a cup of coffee at Starbucks, but my wife, her preference for her coffee is about $7. So I can't even impress my wife with that money. So I'm just going to go ahead and gamble that and put it in the lottery. Maybe I win $5,000. That would change my day. Over here, though, I'm looking at the losses and I'm going, wait a minute, that loss would ruin my day, $5,000, even if there's a small chance. So if I just pay this guaranteed amount. I can pay my $5 and walk away. I don't have to take this risk. So what we've essentially done here is in the positive domain, most people become risk seeking. And this is our lottery behavior. And then over here, we become risk averse. So now we just said in the last video, and it's written above here, in general, for gains, we are risk averse. However, when we have a low probability for a high gain, at some point over here, we become risk seeking. We become risk seeking when there are low probabilities for a high gain. And that's where we have our lotteries. They fund our schools here in the United States. And there's a little bit of psychology involved in that. Some people, they know that it's not a good expected payout on that, but they love the chance and they love the thought of just thinking about being rich. And they put value in that as well. Over here, you go, what's going on over here with these losses? We're risk seeking in general for losses, but when we have a low probability for a high loss, we become very risk averse. Any large city here in the United States and around the world, if you look at the most prominent building in that land, in that downtown cityscape, you usually have banks and what else? Insurance companies. So insurance agencies, and this is all predicated on people's aversion to avoiding heavy losses. So we're very risk averse, and this is our insurance agency, and people will pay a heavy premium to ensure that we don't incur high losses. So now we have, and this is what we said, there's a fourfold pattern of risk here. And you can see on the slides that are provided here, you can see that chart, how it's all laid out, exactly what we've talked about here. And so we want to just unpack this and make one point here. What's going on with these low probabilities? There's a lot of people's tendency to believe that these low probabilities are actually higher than it is. So if you think, have you ever thought to yourself, there's a small chance that this will happen to me, and you go, oh, that's going to be me. That's just my luck. That's going to happen. We are giving overweight or giving higher weight to low probabilities. Same thing. If you see the weather forecast and it says 20% chance of rain, what do we automatically think? It's going to rain. Instead of 1 out of 5 chance, we might see some rain at some point during the day. So again, we underweight or we overweight, these low probabilities. We overweight these low probabilities. And that changes our preferences here in gains and loss domain. All right. On the next video, we're going to dive into the actual value function that I have written up here on the board. We're going to crunch some numbers. And then as soon as we're done with that one video, we get out of the numerical content, and then we move into framing and mental accounting. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.